Blessed Lenten season, everybody, and Tony here with my review of Mozart's Die Zauberflöte with once again conductor Friedrich Pretorius, which I saw at the Deutsche Oper Berlin. This marks the 10th time I saw Günther Kremer's production of Mozart's Die Zauberflöte at the Deutsche Oper Berlin because I wanted to see, hear, and witness Maria Sardaryan perform the role of the Queen of the Night. I was quite pleasantly surprised to see this absolutely wonderful lyric coloratura soprano grace this iconic queen. I mainly heard about her through the repertoire that she's been specializing in. Sure, she does a lot of the lighter roles, such as Blondchen from Die Entführung aus dem Serail and Lisa from La Sonnambula, but she's also had a go at both Pamina and the Queen of the Night, as well as the typical roles for a coloratura soprano, such as Gilda and many other roles from the bel canto repertoire, as well as some roles from the French and German repertoires. As I heard her voice tonight, I was thoroughly amazed with its sheen, its creamy silkiness, and her impeccable use of legato singing. What I truly cherished about Maria Sardaryan as the Queen of the Night was just how disciplined she was as a singing actress. There was not one tone that I thought was wobbly, and there was not one tone that I felt was out of place. It was even, smooth, and it had a nice silvery, silky creaminess that made her voice thoroughly pliable from bottom to top. And even though I still prefer a dramatic coloratura soprano singing the Queen of the Night, such as my personal favorites, including Serafima di Neva, Ray Woodland, Colette Laurent, Margareta Hallen, Christina Dörtekom, Rita Shane, and Edda Moza, I could still give Maria Sardaryan a whole lot of credit for her impeccable musicianship, clarity, and absolutely exceptional focus as a singing actress. There is a brilliant future for Miss Sardaryan in roles such as Lucia Ashton, Violetta Valeri, Giselda from I Lombardi alla prima crociata, Elvira from both I Puritani and Ernani, Luisa Miller, Mimi from La Bohème, Constanze from Die Entführung aus dem Serail, Fiordiligi from Così fan tutte, Donna Anna from Don Giovanni, Antonia from Le Comte d'Hoffmann, Marguerite de Valois from Les Huguenots, Marguerite from Faust, Isabelle from Robert le Diable, and the title role of Richard Strauss's Daphne. The possibilities for Maria Sardaryan are absolutely endless. And while I still love the pliability, creaminess, and silkiness of her lyric coloratura soprano voice, I'm still going to encourage her to keep on developing her chest tones to ensure that she maintains great vocal health and ensure that her voice continues to grow, blossom, and flourish with a lot more ease, as well as a lot more presence, as well as strength. However, when I take that slight caveat out of the way, I could still argue that Maria Sardaryan was still an amazing singing actress with great musicianship and an equally sterling technique that made her thoroughly stand out as a wonderful singing actress as well as a consummate musician. Even though she's been very well known for singing the Queen of the Night, Hye-Young tackled her very first Pamina, and I was really interested to see how Miss Moon was going to tackle this particular role because I've mainly known her as a very renowned interpreter of the Queen of the Night, a role that she has been singing for what feels like nearly 5 years now, if not even less than that. I first saw her as the Queen of the Night roughly 2 years ago, and I thought she was absolutely fabulous. Here as Pamina, I thought she was just as fabulous and just as amazing in this role. She was able to take advantage of a lot of the nuances of this particular role, as well as show a lot of beauty, loveliness, and lyricism to make Pamina shine as a character. Although I kind of forgot to mention this in a previous review starring Hye-Young when she was singing her Liederabend alongside Kyle Miller and Christine Buffel, her voice kind of reminded me of a mixture between Gwendolyn Bradley, Sylvia Greenberg, and Diana Damrau. Sylvia Greenberg because of that absolutely lovely sheen as well as her agility. Gwendolyn Bradley because of that gorgeous and lovely lyricism and great agility that made her extremely well known in roles such as Pamina, Blondchen, Zerbinetta, Olympia, Di Fiacremilli, and Musetta, and Diana Damrau because of that great use of emotional abandon as well as her overall prowess as a singing actress. And I'm talking about the Diana Damrau who used to sing so amazingly back in the 90s all the way up to the early 2000s and even a little bit of the late 2000s. And all of those vocal components reflected on how Hye-Young performed Pamina tonight. She was absolutely delicate in this role. She knew how to play up the girlishness as well as the innocence and that virginal quality that made Pamina function so well as a character. And I would also love to see her one day as Lakme, Ophélie, Mireille, Juliette, Lucia Ashton, Linda de Chamonix, Amina from La Sonambula, Elvira from I Puritani, and maybe even Giulietta from I Capuletti e Montecchi. And maybe in a few years' time, Violetta Valerie from La Traviata. The possibilities for Hye-Young are absolutely endless, so long as she continues to exercise a lot of discipline, as well as ensure that her technique remains as rock solid. So I still have to give Hye-Young a lot of kudos and applause for what she was able to accomplish as Pamina, a role that she did so amazingly well in because she was able to understand the psyche of both characters. From the Queen of the Night's haughtiness to Pamina's innocence, she was able to understand both characters and use her overall intellect and understanding of both characters to her advantage to make Pamina a thoroughly realized character. I also have to give a lot of kudos to Hee-Jin Lee for such a charming performance as Papagena. Her silvery, sweet, and sparkling light lyric coloratura soprano voice was absolutely lovely as Papagena. She was able to embody this role with that sweet ingenue personality that made her thoroughly winsome in my eyes. She definitely has a lot of amazing material to work with in this role, and she had such a darling stage presence. I could never ever take my eyes and ears off of her because her tone was pleasant. It was an absolutely sweet tone that made me thoroughly engaged with her performance, as well as totally enthralled with everything that she had to offer thus far. There is a wonderful future for Hee-Jin Lee in roles such as the fairy godmother from Massenet Cendrillon, Féline from Ambroise Thomas Mignon, Zerbinetta from Ariadne auf Naxos, Sophie from Strauss's Der Rosenkavalier, and even Di Fiacremilli from Arabella, Contessa di Folleville from Viaggio a Reims, and Lisa from La Sonambula. And I dare not forget about more performances of Gilda from Rigoletto, Oscar from Un ballo in maschera, Tebaldo from Don Carlo, and Nanetta from Falstaff. She definitely has a lot of amazing material to work with, and I cannot wait to see a lot more performances of this lovely light lyric coloratura soprano. Elisa Fender, Martina Baroni, and Maria Vasilevskaya were absolutely wonderful as the three ladies, all thanks to Elisa Fenda's chesty, round, rich mezzo-soprano voice as the third lady, Martina Baroni's creamy tone as the second lady, and Maria Vasilevskaya's silvery tone as the first lady, all coming together in harmony. The members of the children's chorus of the Deutsche Oper Berlin were thoroughly charming as the three boys. Tobias Kira struck again as a strong, sturdy, virile, and handsome sarastro, complete with his trademark basso profondo voice, just filling out the theater so beautifully. Gerard Ferreras demonstrated resonance, handsomeness, and a whole lot of masculine charm as the second armed man, all thanks to his peerless musicianship. Joel Allison was just as round, rich, virile, and thoroughly cavernous as the Speaker of the Temple, considering how much he has grown as an awesome singing actor. Cal Miller also demonstrated a whole lot of virility, strength, and a whole lot of performing brilliance as the first priest. Hong-kyun was an absolutely resonant, thoroughly focused, and wonderfully ringing first armed man, all thanks to his spinto tenor voice filling out the theater so beautifully. Artur Garbas continues to exhibit a whole lot of virility, strength, and masculinity as Papageno, to the point where listening to him, he almost reminded me of a mixture of Hermann Prey, Carl Schmidt-Walter, and Gerhard Husch, and a lot of the great German baritones of the past who sang Papageno, as well as the Austrian baritones and basically German-speaking baritones who sang Papageno, all thanks to his exceptional technique, thanks to that roundness in his voice, and most of all, thanks to how much he was able to embody Papageno with a great deal of charisma. Attilio Glaser continues to show virility, strength, and handsomeness as Tamino, all thanks to his trademark full lyric tenor voice that just radiated and rang throughout the theater and almost reminded me of an amalgamation of Fritz Wunderlich's, Nikolai Gedda's, and Peter Schreier's lyricism that was smooth, rich, and full of amazing musicianship, plus the steelier tones found in Peter Hofmann and Siegfried Jerusalem, when both tenors, who were a lot more well-known for more dramatic roles, were in their natural lyrical element. And even though Attilio Glaser's vibrato has been a little bit on the loose side as of late because of him tackling a lot more dramatic roles, I still pray that he will remain as conscientious as ever with his choice of roles and not get too seduced by the appeal of the much heavier roles. I really pray that Attilio Glaser remains smart with his choice of roles and therefore ensure a lot more vocal security to also ensure that he remains healthy as a singing actor. But when all is said and done, Attilio Glaser is still amazing as a singing actor. He is still stylistically rock solid and strong, and I thoroughly salute him for his astounding performance as Tamino. Burkhard Ulrich was, as always, a charismatic and charming second priest, all thanks to his trademark character tenor voice and his amazing acting chops. And I have to salute Thomas Chalufo for such an outstanding job as Monostatos. The way he was able to make his trademark light lyric tenor voice radiate, shine, and show a whole lot of sheen throughout the theater was thoroughly outstanding and thoroughly excellent. He was excellence incarnate, both vocally and theatrically, and he deserves a whole lot of love, acclaim, aplomb, and a whole lot of applauses from yours truly because of how much he was able to win so thoroughly as a singing actor. And he also brought in a great deal of charm to make Monostatos thoroughly brilliant and thoroughly charismatic. So overall, the singing was thoroughly excellent, especially when you have three amazing lyric coloratura sopranos in the forms of Maria Sardaryan, Hye-Young, and Hye-Jin Lee perform the roles of the Queen of the Night, Pamina and Papagena, with a great deal of aplomb, beauty, strength, and a whole lot of charisma. I especially have to give it to Maria Sardaryan for such a sterling and amazing portrayal as the Queen of the Night. There is a brilliant future for Miss Sardaryan, not only in more bel canto roles such as Elvira Walton and Lucia Ashton, but also in slightly more demanding roles such as Beatrice di Tenda, and maybe even the Donizetti queens such as Anna Bolena, Elisabetta from Roberto Devereux, and the role that I believe would be wonderful for her, Maria Stuarda. She would definitely make a great fit for both Maria Stuarda and Beatrice di Tenda, unless they forget about Semiramide, a role that I would love to see her in one day. She definitely had a wonderful instrument with a great deal of potential to keep on growing, and her creamy, silky, and silvery tone managed to shine with sheen, excitement, and interest. I cannot wait to see a lot more of Maria Sardaryan in a lot more leading lady roles, as well as roles that require a great deal of virtuosic singing, as well as amazing excitement from beginning to end. So she deserves all the love, acclaim, and salutes that I could ever give her. Special kudos also have to go to Hye-Young and her awesome portrayal as Pamina, and Hye-Jin Lee and her gorgeously charming portrayal as Papagena. These two were absolutely brilliant in their roles, and I have to salute both of them for embodying Pamina and Papagena respectively with a great deal of charm and loads of interest in the best possible way. Therefore, all the cast members were thoroughly amazing, from the leading ladies to the supporting ladies to all the fine gentlemen and even the very young performers performing the three boys. Everybody managed to chip in so beautifully that I was in thorough amazement at what they were able to offer. The conducting done by Friedrich Pretorius was, as always, bold and brisk. Sometimes I still feel that there were certain passages that were a bit too brisk for my taste, such as the O Isis und Osiris solo by Sarastro. But other than that, at least he was able to continue to keep up the excitement with the orchestra in the course of the Deutsche Oper Berlin, and the chorus and the orchestra of the Deutsche Oper Berlin were, as always, thoroughly exciting. Maria Sardaryan was a wonderful Queen of the Night and an equally wonderful lyric coloratura soprano with a great deal of material that she has at her disposal. Her creamy, silky, and silvery lyric coloratura soprano voice was totally balmy and totally wonderful to listen to. It had a pleasing quality that I thoroughly loved, and she definitely has a lot of amazing material that she can work with as a rising lyric coloratura soprano with amazing work that she has to offer. And I cannot wait to see what the future has in store for Maria Sardaryan as one of the finest lyric coloratura sopranos of today. She definitely sold me as the Queen of the Night, all thanks to her fine and fabulous musicianship. And here's also hoping that she continues to grow from strength to strength. And for those of you who caught this performance of Mozart's Die Zauberflöte, the Deutsche Oper Berlin, What'd you think of it? Did you feel that Maria Sardaryan was able to do so beautifully as the Queen of the Night? Did you also feel that she was the strongest performer of the entire evening? Did you also feel that there was someone who kind of stole the show from her feet, whether it was Hye-Young Moon as Pamina, considering that this was the first time that she ended up performing this role, or Hae-Jin Lee as Papagena, or any of the other male singers? Or did you feel that Maria Sardarian was not really adequate for the Queen of the Night? Please let me know in the comments below. Well, that's it for my review of Mozart's Die Zauberflöte, the Deutsche Oper Berlin, starring Maria Sardarian as the Queen of the Night. Tune in tomorrow for my review of John Adams' Nixon in China, also at the Deutsche Oper Berlin. So until then, blessed Lenten season, everybody.